I'm in. I made it to the Boston.
And that feeling, crossing the finish line, knowing that I was second in the race, my first ever marathon, and seeing the time being 2:52:04. That is the feeling that I was chasing my whole life as an athlete.
It feels great. I mean, there are a lot of things that I wanted to achieve in my career as an athlete before, but even though I never kind of reached those goals, this is like my biggest performance as an athlete, I would say. Mostly just based on the fact how hard it is to qualify for Boston. When it comes to marathons, there's one marathon that stands out. The one where 99.9% of all runners can qualify. The Boston Marathon. I guess in order to describe what this means to me and how it is, I just need to take you back to last summer and how it all started. My goal is to run a marathon at 2:55 on October 29th, 2023. And that's ambitious. I think that a lot of people might think that I had a lot of running experience before this marathon, and that's definitely not the case. Yes, I had a little bit of running as a part of my career as a speed skater, but still it was not at all a big part. It was maybe once or twice a week, not even. I mean, we mostly spent our time on the bike. And then when I kind of decided that I wanted to try this marathon thing, I was in really bad shape. I had gained weight, and I honestly was, it was not really good. And so embarking on this marathon thing, I had no idea what was ahead of me. I honestly, and this is the truth, I was struggling to do the pace that I had at my marathon. I was struggling to do for just 1 kilometer. And so for me, this whole thing of realizing a week or two in that, wow, this goal that I set for myself, which is 2:55, is super ambitious. I knew that I had to do a 4:09 pace throughout the whole marathon to reach my goal of 2:55, which I honestly believed would be good enough for me to qualify for the Boston. But little did I know. I felt very confident about my training plan because I've done this training my whole life, and maybe it's arrogant to say, but I do feel like training for the marathon is one of the easiest goals that I've ever trained for. Not in terms of running fast, but in terms of the plan, because in my opinion, in my experience, and the way my body works, it's just get enough low intensity training and then I'll be fine. I don't need to have a lot of high intensity training to perform at long distance like that. I knew that the competition time would be around 3 hours, and so knowing this and preparing for it in that way, I knew that I didn't need to have a lot of high intensity workouts. I had some threshold here and there, and mostly just trying to get the kilometers in, the miles in. And so throughout that fall, I had a lot of progress in a short amount of time. And then again, back to a video that I made about muscle memory. I think this was kind of the whole reason why it worked out so well. I've obviously had a high VO2 max before. I've been in great shape, so even though it's not been great running shape, I've really benefited from the training that I've done previously. And so years of training kind of paid off in the way where I was actually able to just put the work in there and have a lot of progress every day or every week.
Hi, Christian.
I felt really good the whole way. 1:24 on the first half marathon. Felt easy. Made this huge mistake at 30 kilometers where I had water and a gel when it was 2 kilometers uphill, and that kind of threw me off. I just, my muscles, my lungs, everything kind of exploded, and I had to just keep working on getting back to the rhythm after that. Long story short, ended up at 2:52. Super stoked, so happy. I felt like $1 million. That feeling, amazing. I cannot describe how good that felt, and I was so motivated to just keep going, and I set myself on a new goal, which was 2:35 on the Boston Marathon, because obviously I felt confident that the Boston Marathon would, that I had a ticket for the Boston. Yeah, I'm in a rut.
It was 10K left. I felt okay, but at 8, I was like, how am I
So coming
going
home from the marathon in
There he is.
October, November, I was super excited. Obviously, I was proud. I was just so motivated. I felt like this was gonna be the new lifestyle going forward. Keep running, keep competing. I was in best shape of my life, just having done a 2:52 marathon, my first ever marathon, and knowing that I most likely was qualified for the Boston Marathon, it kind of, triggered something, and it brought so much pleasure and actually, and I know it's a cliche, but like meaning into my life. After the first week or two, obviously after marathon, you will have some pain here and there, and I did feel something on the outside of my knee, which is not something I was super worried about, but obviously it sucked that I went out for a run a week or two after my marathon and I had to stop because I felt like there was a knife going into my knee, and I was like, oh, something is wrong. And then I went to get it checked out, and it's just like, okay, most likely runner's knee, tight IT band. And it's one of those things that I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be injured for a long time. I'm just gonna rest and it's probably gonna get better. So I started running a little bit more. Eventually it was like, trying it out, doing 5 kilometers here, 7 kilometers here, and then I did another 10K in New Zealand, and then I could feel it while I was sleeping the night after, while I was walking. So it's like, this like runner's knee is never gonna leave me. I'm just lost. And then a couple of days later in Queenstown, New Zealand, I went into this running store and I got these new shoes. I was like, okay, let's try barefoot shoes. I have not really tried barefoot shoes. I've only done like barefoot running. And ever since, I've been able to run without pain.
Times like these really make me wanna scream. I can't let go.
feel alone, and I could really use a team.
10K.
All these
Halfway there.
emotions are subliminal, and every single one feels criminal. So I think it's time I hit the interstate. I'll deal with this another day. Hey.
If we just fast forward to September this year, which is like, yeah, a month ago, when I was able to register for the Boston Marathon, I kind of like, I've had a year of feeling very confident that I would be a part of the Boston.
And that's when I'm gonna be there, because I made it.
But then all of a sudden I got this feeling that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be as confident with this or on this, because I started reading online, the cutoff time. It's not enough to just run under 3 hours. Previous years, 2:55 would have been good enough. But this year it seemed like, it was a record registration, 36,000 people. And so reading all these analyses online about the cutoff time, and it just made me really insecure, made me feel like, okay, this might actually not be good enough. Boston has been in my head, in my mind, since the marathon. And I really just, I've been talking about it, oh yeah, I'm doing the Boston Marathon in April. But then all of a sudden I got this feeling that, oh, maybe I shouldn't be as confident with this. Boston! I'm in! I forgot to film my first reaction, but I made it. My daddy's here, Christine's here. 6:51 is the cutoff time, and I made it. I can't believe it. I've been so nervous the last couple of days because I knew that there was a record high registration, and the big internet has been telling me that it might not work. And so I've been updating this every day for the last 5 days, but I'm in. Just super, super happy, super proud, and that leads us to where we are today. Still more than half a year until the Boston Marathon, but as I've told you before and updated you on, the journey after the marathon has been everything but easy. I've been injured, and I've not been able to run the way I wanted to. But if I look back at July 2023 and compare where I was at 4 months before the marathon and now almost 7 months before the marathon, I think that it's a huge, huge difference in my starting point. I am in great shape, even though it's not even close to where I was at the marathon. But I'm hoping that maybe in 2 or 3 months that I'll be back at where I was at, and then I still will have quite a few months of trying to get even better than that level. I think that the goal that I set myself after running the Boston running the qualification for the Boston was 2:35. And I know that's super ambitious, but I like to have those ambitious goals. But I guess I have realized that might not be realistic. And I think that if I do a sub 250 in Boston, I should be super, super happy. And so that is, I guess, my realistic goal. And then maybe sub 240 is my dream goal. I'm very excited to just embark on this journey, and I'm excited to share it with you guys. And I hope that you will join me and that you will hear on this channel, in this community, that we can work towards this together. What will be Boston 2025, which I'm officially a part of, and I can't wait. That was good, wasn't it? Yeah.